Hi, my name is Carla.
My name is Ana Media Arriaga.
And we are from Venezuela. And we're going to show you how to make arepas. Arepas is sort of like our bread. We eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's very traditional for Venezuelan. There are many ways of making the arepas, but today we're going to show it how to bake it and make it in the oven. So let's start.
Yes. Salt.
And the arepas are made out of corn. It's a white corn meal. I have to show you. We have this is the traditional Venezuelan brand. It's called Pan. But there's this other brand that's easier to find at pretty much every grocery store. So it's really simple. A teaspoon of salt, two and a half cups of water, and the cornmeal.
2 cups.
And that's it, 2 cups of cornmeal.
Okay. Move it.
So just mix it around with your hands. It'll start to get thicker little by little. Mm-hmm. And the way we're making it, it's pretty much following the directions from the box. But the more you make it, you kind of get it, your consistency, you know, when it's ready. The trick also is after you mix it, you let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it'll be easier to make the shapes, and there'll be the right consistency. So as you can see now, it's getting a lot thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And
we have to rest.
Let it rest. Okay.
Okay. So we cover it.
And we'll just take a little cloth and cover it.
Just wait for 5 minutes.
All right, so we let the dough rest, and after you let it rest, just start mixing it again. And sometimes it could get too dry. It all depends on the temperature. So feel free to add a little more water till you get the right consistency. What we're gonna do is make little balls, kind of like an English muffin kind of shape. So you want a consistency that you can kind of mold. So my mom's showing you. We'll start with a little ball, and kind of the more you do it, the easier it gets. And also the great thing is that you can make it any size you want. Back home, different people make it different sizes. Some families like it bigger and really thin. My mom kind of makes it in medium size, and a lot of restaurants make it really tiny, kind of like an appetizer. So it's very versatile. So as you can see, let's just try another one.
Use a little bit of water in the hands.
Okay. Yeah, to make it easier to roll. So she starts with a little ball, and you want to try to make them all around the same size so they cook evenly in the oven. So the consistency, you want it to be kind of a little bit sticky, but not to be way too sticky where it's all over your hands. So as you can see, it's very easy to move around. Sometimes if it's too dry, you'll notice that it won't really take the shape, and actually when you start making it flat, if it's too dry, it starts to crack while you're making it flat. So you want something like this, very smooth, and no cracks at all.
Always round, not a square arepa.
And it's like I said, the more you do it, the easier it gets. But it's fun. Just have fun with it. If they're not perfectly round, they'll still be really yummy. It all depends. It's all about what you put inside of it, and that's what we show you at the end. All right, so now we're ready to cook them. And what we're gonna do first is sear them so the outside cooks a little bit in a pan, and then we're gonna bake them in the oven. We're using a cast iron pan, but you can use any like non-stick pan that you have. And because this one's non-stick, we're just gonna add a little bit of oil. And you don't wanna, we don't wanna fry these. We just wanna add enough oil in the bottom of the pan so they won't stick. So, my mom's just using a little paper towel. And now we take them from the platter, and you know, the dough, because it's so soft, sometimes it kind of gets misshapen while you're picking it up. So just, you know, reshape them again and just put them in the pan. So we're gonna do 3 at a time and just cook them for about 4 minutes. Make sure that just when you put them in the pan, do not touch them, do not play with them, just wait about 4 or 5 minutes because they stick to the bottom of the pan really easily. So you gotta make sure they cook, and then it's when you can flip them. And different people like different kind of cookness. Some people like it darker and whiter. So, but I would say 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes.
And it would come back. Arepas, like I said, it's our traditional bread or and our traditional food. So there are a lot of restaurants that they only sell arepas, or like our burger. And they're open 24 hours, a lot of them. So that's what we do. That's where we go after a party. Go out drinking with your friends 3 in the morning. You go to an arepera, and that's what you have. That's how you get your your food.
Okay, they're ready.
So now you see they're starting to get a little darker. Now you can turn them around. And it's really, really important for you to put them in a pan before you put them in the oven. You need to sear the outside, because as you make the dough, you'll see that it's very soft. So you need to sear them. If you try to put them in the oven without searing them, they're just gonna fall apart. So do not miss this step, it's very important. And also, it just adds a nice fluted crunches on the outside, because on the inside they're very doughy. So you can get them nice and crunchy on the outside, so that's very important. All right, now that these are ready, we're gonna put them in the oven. It's 350 degrees, and you can use the middle rack. If these are too hot, just feel free to use the tongs, but I'm just used to making these, so I can just use my hands. Okay, all right, now that in the oven, they're gonna cook about 7 to 10 minutes on each side. So we're gonna let them cook 7 minutes, check them in, turn them, and then 7 minutes more. Okay, so now we're at halfway point. We are ready to turn them. And they're starting to get nice and puffy, but they're not ready yet. So we're just gonna turn them. Okay, now 7 minutes gone by and they're ready. Of course you can go with time, but a very traditional way to find out when people didn't have, timers was it's a sound that the arepas make. And you can hear it's kind of like a hollow sound. And it will come with experience, but the more you do, you realize that you really start to hear that sound of just hollow. So these are ready, you can get them all out. But don't worry, you can go with the 7 minutes on each side and they'll come out great. You'll see that they puff up, so they're ready. All right, so now I'm gonna show you how to fill in your arepa. Take your arepa, the knife, cut it in. You want to slide your knife, maybe go about halfway point, and be careful, the arepa is going to be really hot. So you just open it up. You can see it's really nice and doughy on the inside. Okay, and the first thing we put inside the arepa is butter. You got to do it. So we just add a little butter, to taste. Put it all over. And again, it's so versatile. You can add absolutely anything you want. Right now, this is a very traditional mix of black beans and cheese. So I'll just add some black beans and some cheese. And then cheese is gonna melt and it's gonna be delicious. So you can put any cheese you like. Right now I'm using cheddar. These black beans, if you're using black beans for any kind of meat, it'll be good if you heat them up, even though if you put in the arepa, it'll get warm up. But these are just regular black beans with a little salt and pepper and cumin. Again, you can fill these in with whatever you want. If you want to put some meats, cold cuts would be delicious, and cheese, of course. What else to say? Oh, so in the morning we do it with scrambled eggs, would be delicious. You can throw in some bacon, even some avocado. It's really delicious. So you can really get wild and add whatever. If you have some sort of leftover of anything, it's just a vehicle for some deliciousness. So here you go. Arepa with black beans and cheese.